I'm Gilligan, owner of Fake Chapter Records, and we're made in Jersey.
Jump on 95. Get the turnpike, we're only in Jersey tonight.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Made in Jersey. Of course, we are coming to you from the basement here in Hamilton Township, New Jersey, in the shadow of Trenton, our capital, and Princeton. And we are here this week once again, spotlighting one of the most fascinating businesses that has sprung up from right here in the Garden State. One of the coolest endeavors, I think, that many of us have followed and loved for quite some time. We're going to get the inside scoop on Fake Chapter Records, and the man behind the mission is here with us this week. Gilligan, how are you, man?
I'm good, Jerry. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. It's I can't believe it's been almost 29 years, you said, since
Yes.
Fake Chapter launched, and this thing just keeps on running. How are you feeling about this passion project of yours after all this time and all the momentum you've built?
I mean, honestly, I just feel very blessed and that it's gone on for so long. I started it my sophomore year in my dorm room at Rowan University, one of our fine state schools, and it was a cassette tape with my roommate's band on one side and this group from Philadelphia on the other side, and we picked up. I'll give a shout out to Disc Makers there in New Jersey. I picked up on 11/11/1996. I picked up 300 cassettes, and we were just selling them out of my dorm room. And I, obviously didn't know how long this would last, and that I would end up doing. I think we're up to almost 80 releases in
Wow.
these 29 years.
Mhm.
Mostly not cassette anymore, but it's just grown, and it's just been my life, and I've loved every minute of it.
That's amazing. Let's give people the bit of the elevator pitch who may not be familiar with your label, what you guys do. Just define, like, in the realm of music, something on the level of Fake Chapter. Like, what do you guys do, and why is it important? What are you guys bringing to the table for music lovers?
Yeah, I mean, it's changed so much over the years, like the role of the record label. But the easy way to summarize it is just working with bands to help them uh, produce music, release music, distribute it. So you're working in all kinds of different facets, whether you're helping them actually produce a record, a physical CD, you're marketing it, you're helping make videos, all the different aspects of trying to get their music out to the world and supporting the band. So like I said, in the digital age and everything, like my role has shifted
Mm.
with certain bands, because they can do a lot more things themselves, but they still can't do everything themselves, right? So there's always a role for people to help support a band in their goals.
Yeah, gotcha. Um, let's take it back to the beginning for a second, because you talked about how you got your start. What went into that as far as the decision to move in this direction, to make that first cassette, to start on this path for you?
Yeah, because I was just a dumb 18-year-old kid in the 90s, when it was just like the mecca of record labels. You had Matador Records and Sub Pop and Lookout. I mean, you just had all this great music scene of these labels. And I had no business being a kid that just looked at all that and said, yeah, me too. I could do, like, why not? There's an oversaturated market. I can just jump right in there. So I just wanted to do it. And so I just started asking bands around. When you're at college, you always know people that are like in bands and stuff like that. So I I just figured I'd just get started. Like I said, I had no idea how long I would be doing it, or in what capacity I'd be doing it, but I just wanted to get involved. I just wanted to, be a part of some of this stuff, and
Yeah,
that's how it started. Yeah.
it feels like a lot of the conversations we have on this show, and conversations that you hear with people who launch passion projects, that's the big dividing line, right? Like, thinking about doing it versus just going ahead and doing it, and kind of not looking back or being worried about the repercussions or whether it's going to be a success or not. Do you feel like being young and having that mindset of let's just do the thing, was that sort of the crossroads for you that led you here, that, thankfully you made that choice?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that start, once you make that decision to start, it's because you just like dive in. You can't, if you hold off on that decision when you get older, and like, waiting for the time is right, all those type of decisions, you'll never like really get into it. The downside is, though, of course, is that I had no idea what I was doing, right? So it's like I had to like reset what I was doing like several times. Like after every 4 or 5 years, I had to kind of like reset my business plan and everything because I was making all these mistakes so much along the way. So that's kind of the downside, but that is the only way I think you can do it. Like I said, I think, if I waited to get the experience and really get money built up and everything like that, I, I think not only would I not have done it, but then as soon as I would have eventually started making mistakes again, I probably would have then been more inclined to like shut it down. But for me, it was kind of always of like, this has to work. I have to make this work. Like there's no other option. There's no plan B. I am now doing this for the rest of my life. And once you get that mindset, then you won't ever stop.
Yeah, and you clearly you haven't, and things have been going well. As we said, almost 29 years. You're pushing up on what's going to be an even bigger anniversary. What would you say are some of the big memorable moments that you think back on, and these are just unbelievable highlights, things that happened along the way that you'll just take with you for the rest of your days?
Yeah, I mean, I would say in general, like some of the success that certain bands have had, and just being a part of that. Like for example, there's bands that then like are on my label and then they move on to bigger and better things. So like one band, for example, Arms and Sleepers, or a band that they weren't a band when I met them, and I helped, just get them started on their journey, and I put out a couple of their records. Now they're a huge band. They were on the cover of New York Times like 2 years ago. I mean, it's just huge success. I haven't worked with them specifically, like I said, in a few years, but just being a part of that whole story for them and other bands besides them, right? Like just looking back at their career and being like, I had a small part of that success. Another thing was 11/11/11. So since my anniversary is on the 11th, because that was the day I picked up those cassettes. So on 11/11/11, I did a big show in New York City. One of my big artists, Miles Hunt from the Wonder Stuff, like flew from the UK to headline it. I had all kinds of other bands. We had like 6 or 7 bands all together, and I hosted it, and we gave away prizes and stuff. And it was just like, it was just such a fun night. It's kind of always been hard to top that. So that's also another memory that I'll always have.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's amazing. And you guys are just continuing to build and get bigger and offer more music. You mentioned having to kind of reset your game plan, so to speak, every few years, every 5 years. And it's you learning along the way, but I have to imagine a big part of it is also that the industry just continues to completely change and
Yeah.
evolve again and again. What is it that you guys like? How do you compare where you started as far as what you did, the way you put out music to the world, and how has that changed over time all the way to today?
Yeah. So when I first started, it was really like trying to be Sony Music or any other big record label. It was like, let's break these bands. Let's, do all the traditional things. And then it kind of shifted to like, well, I want to just work with bands that I really love. I mean, not that I wasn't doing that before, but really that became more of the focus. And then it kind of shifted to the digital age. And it's like, well, how am I going to fit into this role? No one's buying CDs anymore. Like, what's the game plan? And then now it's kind of more of like, well, what, since bands are doing everything themselves or capable of, and social media and stuff like that, then it's kind of like, well, how am I best supporting them? Right. Like the role of how the label, which was kind of like a bank role of like, oh, we'll pay for the CD production. We'll do the marketing and stuff like that. Now that's not, they don't need to pay for anything. They can just release it on streaming. So what is the role now? How do I best support? So I think those are like the major shifts. I mean, when I first started, I was literally going to like Sam Goody and the mall and stuff like that and be like, hey, can you put my CD in? And it was all about getting them to carry it. And now it's like getting them in a good position, right? Like you wanted, when they walked in and they had like the headphones, stuff like that, you wanted your CD to be right next to the other CDs and stuff like that. And every effort I had was just trying to get it on the radio or in the record stores. And now it's like, well, I don't have to worry about that anymore. I release it on Spotify. It's there next to all the majors. Anyway, so now the question is, well, how do I get people to care about it in a different way before? How do I get it not to just be like throwing it into a black hole, which people release so much music now. I mean, Bandcamp and like you got all these demos and stuff like that. So it's like when you release a record, people have the feeling of it like just throwing it into a black hole. How do you break that and make this more of a project? So it really is like a 360 from a mindset before, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious, like what are some of the things that you do? What's the approach when you're trying to break something new or somebody unfamiliar?
Yeah.
How do you do it? And does the fact that you've been able to succeed through all these like different eras, so to speak. That makes it sound like we're talking about 300 years, but you've have some of that old school marketing in you as well. Is that something that you can still kind of apply here and there in 2025, along with the more modern way of promoting music?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important for me. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out how to do it. Let's be honest. I don't know how to navigate it completely, but I think what's important is that you kind of still understand like who you are and who these bands are, right? Instead of just trying to like do what you see other people doing of like 30-second TikTok reel every day 10 times a day, like which is working obviously for some groups and stuff like that, but you still have to feel like you're doing it the way you've established it and the way your identity and the people that have come to know you to do it. So it really is kind of like a mix of that old school marketing while you still are not wasting that opportunity of like, well, we should be doing this, like this is what people are doing now, and like we shouldn't just miss out on certain things too. So you're trying to find that balance, and the artists a lot of times have their ideas, right? So you're also in that collaborative mode of like, well, how do you want to put this out there, and what works for you guys, so you can kind of because some people have a great media naturalness, other bands like can't stand it, right? Like, so you can kind of be like, all right, if this is something that feels right, let's leverage it more. If you really can't stand doing the socials and you're not going to do it, that's fine, but like we got to game plan and have our expectations be matching what that strategy is, right? You can't expect to be like, I'm not going to do all this and then expect these different results as if you did do certain things, right? So you really do have to kind of like have a sit down with them and have the right strategy of how we're going to move forward with it.
Gotcha. What is the strategy for you guys these days as far as considering working with artists? Are you open to new artists, or like what aspect of your business these days is kind of that influx of potential new talent?
Yeah, always looking for new talent. I think what has changed the last few years is really not just really being aggressive about it, just kind of working with the bands that I work with, and then as opportunities come up, trying to like reach out and seize it. But I'm always looking for new music, just general, also as a fan. So when I find something that I like, then I'm going to pursue and reach out and see what happens. But like I said, I think the big difference is the aggressive. When 10 to 15 years ago, I was going to shows all the time in New York. I was trying to meet I was almost like an A&R person would do at a label, right? Like you hear about the groups and then you go try to track them down and follow them, and I don't do any of that anymore. So it is kind of different, but I've never had trouble finding artists because they'll come to you also, and most of the I used to get like 5 demo tapes in the mail a day, and you have to sit there and listen to it. And then it shifted to where you would get like 20, 30 emails a day. And, and after all of those years and years of getting this in my inbox or mailbox, I think only twice I signed or worked with a band through this method. Almost every other time it was, I saw them live, or like this other band I was working with, like went on tour or something, and this band opened and they're like, oh, you got to check them out. And, it was always like that word of mouth or that kind of like thing that really, for the most part, got me connected to groups. So it's never been an issue. Yeah.
Yeah, and as the years have gone on, I'm sure word has gotten around about you guys as well. So people are aware of you, and that brings me to what's so cool about having you on this show today, because we talk to a lot of small business owners throughout New Jersey, and we're looking to promote them to potential customers, to potential clients. For you, it's kind of a two-pronged thing, because if those of you out there are if you're in a band, if you're an artist and you're potentially looking for that fit for a record label, it's great to hopefully think about you guys making that connection. And at the same time, there's plenty of people who just love music, and we want to point them to you as well. So we love to take care of our own here, Made in Jersey. You are a Jersey guy, and that means that you are now in the hot seat, if you so dare, to hop into the Jersey Dozen. Gilligan, are you ready?
I'm ready for this.
Okay. We're going to test your Jersey-ness, so to speak. Okay. Question number 1. Favorite Jersey Shore town?
Oh, well, all growing up and stuff, it was probably Point Pleasant, but recently, I have the kids now and the family, so we do our annual trip to Cape May, and I'm sure Cape May is not, with the a controversial choice and maybe a lame choice, but I have gone to really well there, to be honest with you.
Okay. All right. No, I think Cape May is definitely. We, it's someone should make a chart of the Jersey towns and like where they're appropriate for what stage of life you are.
Yeah,
like you
exactly.
move on from Belmar, and it just goes down the line. Okay, ultimate New Jersey TV show: Sopranos or Jersey Shore?
I'll if it's just between those two, it has to be Sopranos, just because Jersey Shore, I hate with every bone in my body, the TV show, and none of them are from New Jersey anyway. They were like Staten Island or whatever, right? Sopranos, I also like, I lived in Bloomfield for a long time, so Holston's, like that scene from Sopranos, like the last scene was at the place that I used to eat at all the time and stuff like that. So I definitely just, appreciate the Soprano references more, and obviously it was a better show.
Yeah, definitely. Favorite pizza? One spot.
Oh God. I'm not gonna have a good answer for this. I do remember. I don't even remember the name. In Lyndhurst, there was a pizza place that I used to love and I went to all the time, and now I can't even think of the name of it. But the thing about New Jersey, the good thing about New Jersey is that all the pizza is pretty good.
Yeah.
Even when you go to a bad pizzeria, if you just and you say to yourself, "This isn't that good," if you just visualize that place in Iowa, you'd be like, "This is going to be the greatest place that they've ever seen." So there's really no bad pizza for the most part.
Absolutely, and I guarantee you that those who grew up in and around Lyndhurst, they probably know exactly what you're talking about also. So, let's see, Springsteen or Bon Jovi?
Oh, again, it's Springsteen. I mean, I appreciate Bon Jovi, but I mean, there's not a contest between the two.
All right. Best live show memory in Jersey?
Oh, wow, that's a good one. Well, I'm not going to do a single one, but I will put my heart out for Maxwell's. That place, and I understand why it closed down. Hoboken changed a lot over the years, and just having this indie room like all the way 12 blocks away from the path, just like it made less and less sense. But so many great shows I saw at Maxwell's, from Sonic Youth and the punk show. I mean, long way. Countless shows that I saw at this tiny little place. Just Todd A, who ran it. I think Peter Buck was part owner for a while, but it's just they brought in great bands over and over again. So all my Maxwell shows would be my memory.
Cool. Let's see, Parkway or Turnpike?
I would say Turnpike because I enjoy the smell, and I think the rest stops are of a better quality.
Nobody has gone to the odor before as the defining factor. All right, that's very fair. That's probably the most solid reason anyone has given for that decision yet. Best place to grab a beer?
Man, it's another tough one. I wish you sent these in advance.
That's no fun.
Well, you know what? I'll give a shout out. A couple years ago, I hosted 1111 at Lions Roar Brewery in Westfield, New Jersey. Very nice brewery. I mean, there's lots of great breweries in New Jersey, but not all of them have hosted me, so I'll give a shout out to them.
Fair enough. Pork roll or bagel?
Pork roll or bagel?
Yes.
How about a pork roll on a bagel? That's not a choice? That's not one of the choices?
We can make it a choice.
I mean, that is the order. I get pork roll, egg, cheese, ketchup on a plane. That's the typical order.
That's brilliant. That's actually brilliant. You cracked the Jersey code. Favorite mall? Then or now?
I mean, we lived in mall country. So I grew up in Maywood, New Jersey, which Hackensack Paramus, right? We had 6 malls. It was Bergen Mall, Garden State Plaza, Paramus Park, the Mall at 4, Riverside Mall. All of them were in 2-minute drive. We used to walk to the Garden State Plaza a lot when we were, that age where you're too old to stay home, but you're not old enough to drive, so you just had to walk around. So I would say the Garden State Plaza then. I don't know what it is now, because it's just where I spent my time, I guess.
Okay, cool. Jersey icon they should name a rest stop after. Now, are you familiar with the existing rest stops?
Some of them. So I know we got Howard Stern and Bon Jovi, right? Don't we? Or we have the coach. We have
I'll run down the list of who we have. I don't believe Howard Stern is on the list.
all right.
But we've got we got Bruce Willis, Frank Sinatra, Celia Cruz, Judy Blume, Bon Jovi, Whitney Houston, Larry Doby, Connie Chung, and James Gandolfini so far.
We don't count Walt Whitman, Molly Pitcher. Those are some of the Walt Whitman rest stop is probably where I've been to the most. A Jersey icon that needs a rest stop. How about we give love to the Misfits and we give Danzig a rest stop?
Wow, I like it. I'd love
Or
to see
someone
what
else Misfits. Maybe Des Cadena gets a rest stop because he was also in Black Flag, which is not New Jersey, but he is New Jersey.
I want to see that video wall in the lobby in that place. That would be amazing. All right, so this is sort of typically evident of just where in Jersey you spent your time. I think we're going to know the answer here, but New York teams or Philly teams?
So, I'm in New York region, so I hate Philly, even though I went to college and have all my friends in Philly going to rowing. But to be honest with you, though, I broke away. So I was supposed to be a New York Ranger fan, and then they traded my favorite player, so I became a Washington Capitol fan, which I don't recommend doing while living in New Jersey, New York area, but I dealt with it. And I hate the Giants and the Jets. I don't hate the Giants, but the Jets I've always hated. So the Yankees are the only, and the Red Bulls are the only New York teams that I kind of have stuck with, but certainly not Philadelphia.
Fair enough. You didn't say anything about the odor, so I thought we
for New York or both.
I don't know, the odor of the fans. I don't know. I just felt we'd have kind of a consistent theme, but that's cool. We don't want to anger anybody too badly. Final question for you. Fake Chapter Records. Why is this a business that New Jersey, for those who are new and just learning about it today, why is this a business that New Jersey will love? The work that you do.
Yeah, I mean, I think, even though I work with bands from all over the world, I work with a ton of New Jersey bands, and I think it's just cool to maybe check out the label and listen to it and just know that it's all been done in New Jersey. Lots of great New Jersey labels exist, Bar None Records, but just, so I think it's always cooler to be like that. This isn't some New York City or LA or Nashville, right? Like that there's a ton of stuff happening in New Jersey musically, and I think that adds a little element to enjoying the music.
Awesome. You have completed the Jersey Dozen. Gilligan, one more time, why don't you plug your website and any social, anywhere that you want to point people to check out more Fake Chapter Records?
Sure. Yeah, musicisfake.com. You can go to all our Fake Chapter is their handle on any Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. So you can go follow all those, or just go to the website and check out all the links that we have.
Awesome. And for all of you checking us out here on Made in Jersey, thank you so much for doing so. Of course, subscribe at the handle right below my name on the screen here on YouTube, and check out more interviews with some of the coolest businesses in New Jersey, some of the coolest celebrities from New Jersey. We'll keep giving it to you if you keep subscribing and watching and helping us grow. So for all of us, we want to thank you. Gilligan, thank you for being here, and we will see you next time on Made in Jersey.